Now, you need to follow me in terms of the date. The date will be very critical for your opinion, to form your views as far as the issue of the ADC is concerned. Take note of this date. May 17th is a critical date. Now, May 17th is a date there's an argument of whether or not Nephew Gombe, who is claiming leadership of the ADC, as against David Mark, Senator David Mark, and Ralph Aregbesola, who is the national secretary. That is the day they said he resigned from the party, and that resignation letter was received on the 20th. INEC got notice of that letter on October 10th. So let's stay with May. Now, he has said, look, he did not resign. He was the only deputy national chairman among the persons that resigned before the David Mark group took over the party. So he said, naturally, he should inherit the position of national chairman based on their constitution. Now, as far as that argument is concerned, we're going to leave it to the trial court. That's the decision of the trial court. I'm going to speak exclusively to what has happened so far between Justice Mekanwite's court and to the appeal court. July 27th, the David Mark group came into being to be the caretaker chairman, national secretary of the party and other ESCO of the party monitored by INEC. Now, so we've moved from May 17th down to July 29th, and then let's go to September. Critical September. September, there are 3 dates you must take note of. September 2nd, Nephew Gombe came and said, he went to the court, approached the court by originating summons and said to the court, look, I have my grievances. I am seeking both ancillary and declarative reliefs based on the leadership debate between I and David Mark. As a matter of fact, I'm also seeking injunctive relief, both interlocutory injunction and interim injunction via ex parte motion, interlocutory injunction, those injunctive relief to ensure that, I get some protection by the court on some of the things I want to do. Now, what did the court do based on those injunctive relief? Now, the court did not grant him the interim injunction. What the court simply did was, okay, for the interlocutory injunction that you're seeking based on motion of notice, what we will do, I direct you, serve the defendant in this case. Let David Mark and his group come and show cause why this court should not grant the injunction that you're seeking as Nephew Gombe. Now, September the 4th, remember September the 2nd, then September the 4th, something happened. The court actually made the decision and told him, okay, go serve him. Why the court should not, to show cause why the court should not serve that or grant that injunction. Well, Senator David Mark and his group were not quite happy. Now, September the 9th, we understand that INEC uploaded their names on the portal of INEC as the new leaders, Senator David Mark and co. But September the 18th, Senator David Mark, by interlocutory appeal, went to the appeal court to say, look, this court, by the trial court by Mekanwite, doesn't have jurisdiction over this matter. As a matter of fact, there's an error in law where the court dismissed his position and affirmed the position of the trial court. So go and answer for what the trial court is asking you to answer for. As a matter of fact, I give you 3 consequential orders of court. First, whatever they say stand, but there should be accelerated hearing because INEC timetable is out, so we don't have time. Second, maintain status quo antebellum, which is where all the trouble started. What is status quo antebellum? He said, you have to, don't take any action as far as this case is concerned, not to force a fait accompli so that the issue is not nugatory, as they say it in law, and you awarded costs against Senator David Mark. Well, Senator David Mark apparently lost in that interlocutory appeal. Now, all of the documents were sent to INEC. What now happened at the end of the day was that Senator David Mark, Nephew Gombe, and the appeal court judgment, the 2 letters from the 2 gentlemen, and that judgment from the Court of Appeal was before INEC. And INEC said, look, instead of all of this confusion, there's no leadership now. Go and sort yourself out in the court.
The process that brought David Mark to be chairman of the African Democratic Congress, is it the prescribed process according to the Constitution of the African Democratic Congress, the ADC? Is it the constitutionally prescribed method? Let us start from there. What happened in July of 2025 would have been okay if nobody complained. If all of the National Working Committee members, all of the state executive committee members, the ward, the local government, if they all had no issue with it, they would have been able to get away with it. It would have simply been the internal party affairs of the party. But is it the prescribed method according to the constitution of the African Democratic Congress? Is it? Peter Obi, this is my question to you. When you were contesting the 2023 elections, you said yourself that you don't have an issue, but that if somebody is going to be called excellency, the process that brought him should be excellent. So I ask you, dear Peter Gregory Obi, the process that brought in David Mark and Rauf Aregbesola as chairman and national secretary of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, was the process an excellent process? Was the process the prescribed process according to the constitution of the African Democratic Congress? He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. Very quickly, many people, particularly in the opposition, rely on the Supreme Court ruling that says that the leadership of a political party is the internal affairs of that political party. They very quickly lean on it. But here is the question. Does it mean that because the leadership is the internal affairs of a political party, then the leadership must be done anyhow, without respect for the constitution of the political party? The answer is no. You can't say because the leadership of a political party is internal affairs of the party, and then you just wake up one morning and then you just say, okay, I scrap all the NWC offices, I replace it with just the office of a chairman to do everything. You can't do that simply because it's the internal affairs of the party. No. The reason why every political party is required to have a constitution is because every activity of the political party must be guided by the constitution of that party. And so, if David Mark, Rauf Aregbesola wanted to be national chairman and secretary of the African Democratic Congress, what was the right thing to do? They would simply have gone to Ralph Nwonsu and said, we like your African Democratic Congress, the ADC. We want to adopt it as the coalition party, but we don't want you to be chairman anymore. We want some new persons to be chairman, meaning we don't want your National Working Committee anymore, even though we know that you are a good party, but we don't trust your capacity. So we want you guys to step aside, but let's do it the right way. The first question would have been, and this is where I blame Atiku. The first question would have been, Ralph, since you have agreed to hand over the ADC to us, what is the constitutionally prescribed method for appointing new NWC executives? Then they would have gone and they would have seen that, oh, it is through the National Convention.